today's Value Talk. Today we have with us Colonel Manish Kochhar. Sir is a transition expert. He has been helping people in career transition, and otherwise also he coaches a lot of people on career advisory. And then we have with us Mr. PARAMJIT Singh LAMBA.
Hello, Captain Vipul. My camera is on. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. So for the audience, Mr. PARAMJIT LAMBA is a fellow, that is, he's doing his PhD from the prestigious MDI Gurgaon in the area of strategy. Otherwise, he's a leader in HR with around 20 years of experience, having worked with marquee organizations and having done his MBA from, he's done his MBA and graduation prior to doing his fellowship. So he has advised us on, he has been advising Value Talks on various matters related to HR and transition. Thank you for joining us, sir. So we'll be doing this talk today in a workshop mode. I am playing the role of Colonel Vipul Choudhary, who is an infantry officer with full service superannuation and right now re-employed with ECHS. And the job I have applied for is a general manager administration of a hotel, of a hospital, a 500-bedded hospital. I'll just give a brief of the job description. You can see it in your in the Google chat. The job description is General Manager, Administration and Security for a 500-bedded multi-speciality corporate hospital. The CTC offered is 30 lakh rupees. I am facing an interview by Colonel Kochhar and PARAMJIT LAMBA. We'll start the talk, sir. You may please ask your first question.
Okay. Welcome, Colonel Vipul.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Welcome to this interview. And sorry, we have to conduct this interview online.
Sir.
At this hour. We are a little short of time, but I will still make up questions.
Yes, sir.
So tell me briefly about yourself. So I have gone through your CV. Let's hear from
you. Sir, about me, I am an army officer from the infantry. I have commanded my battalion in a field area in high intensity counter-insurgency operations. I have experience in handling large teams. I have experience in administration, asset protection. I have worked in very high pressure situations. I can keep people motivated and I'm quite capable of being able to handle pressure, sir. And I'm a team player, sir.
Okay. Right.
And I believe I can extrapolate these skills to the healthcare industry and help my employers in doing their work in improving their effectiveness and efficiency by using my leadership skills and my communication skills.
Very good. Okay. So have you ever done your own SWOT analysis, strength and weaknesses? Can you tell us your strength or weaknesses?
I'm sorry, sir, I could not hear what you said, sir.
I said, have you ever done a SWOT analysis of yourself? Strength, weaknesses, and
yes, sir. I have done some kind of a SWOT analysis of myself.
Can you give us your strengths and weaknesses so that we know better about you?
Sir, this is based on the feedback given to me by my seniors, even as a part of our annual confidential reports in the Indian Army, wherein my commanding officers and officer commandings have given me this feedback. I don't think I really can tell you a weakness which I have. Maybe, sir, I am too spendthrift. I mean, I spend my money too fast. That is a weakness I would say I have. My strength is that I'm very hardworking and I don't rest till the given task is completed. I am a finisher, sir. And I'm also very good with people management and managing people at all different levels. I have, when commanding, sir, I have managed officers as well as soldiers or jawans who used to just join after. So I have handled people at 17 years of age who were fresh out of training, and senior officers who used to be my company commanders, and I have dealt with senior generals who used to be my super bosses. And these are my strengths, sir. I can manage people and I can get work done with various levels. Those are my strengths. As a weakness, I can say, sir, I'm a little spendthrift. I tend to spend money without being very careful about it, sir.
Okay. Well, that's quite a weakness. Okay, Parab, would you like to take on from here?
Good evening, Captain Vipul. How's your day been?
My day has been good, sir. I've been waiting for this interview. I'm very keen to be a part of your organization.
How did you prepare for this interview?
Sir, I studied a bit about your hospital. I studied the different specialities your hospital offers. I tried to find if there are other officers there. I realized that your earlier incumbent in the similar position was also an army officer. I spoke to him, so I have done my fair bit of research on your establishment, sir. Right, sir?
So, you worked for how long in the armed forces?
So my total experience is 31 years plus I am on re-employment draw. If we take that also into account, then it is around 34 years, sir.
So, how is your experience in the army, which I hear from the other candidates that I've interviewed, is more of a rounded experience or a generic experience. How is your work experience relevant to us? We are a 500 bedded hospital.
Yes, sir.
How do you think you'll be able to contribute?
Sir, your hospital is also an establishment, a big asset, and I have direct experience of having managed this kind of an asset. Not exactly a hospital, but when I was commanding my battalion at that point in time, in the counterinsurgency operation, we used to have a similar setup wherein the battalion headquarters and two companies which are located with us. We also had very critical stores and assets with us, which we used to protect there against any kind of a militant action or a counterinsurgency action. So I have a lot of experience in maintaining security and running an establishment like that on a day-to-day basis in very high pressure situations. As compared, the hospital is located in a metro city and there is hardly any threat perception there. But what I can see is that in your establishment, I'll be the asset which needs to be protected is doctors. The assets which need to be protected are the medicines and the building per se, fire drills, etc. The notes which I could gather from the person was there earlier.
Sorry to interrupt. Have you read the job description?
Yes, sir. I've read the job description. It is security and administration, sir, which includes managing the vendors to the hospital.
So administration comes under security or security comes under administration?
Sir, from what I have understood, it is security which comes under administration.
And you understand. Yeah, Param, sorry, I was compelled to ask this.
No, not a problem. Your experience from what you just told us seems to focus on asset protection. Administration is much larger than that. If you could share with us how your specific skills, or I don't see that you've got any specialized qualifications in hospital management or any related qualification or certification. So how would you handle the administrative role in a, civilian hospital?
Sir, I have a certification in hospital management from the Indira Gandhi National Open University, wherein I have some technical grounding of how an hospital can be managed. In terms of administration, and from what I learned from the officer who was working with you earlier, is that in your hospital, it is one got to do with the procurement of supplies. Second, it has got to do with day-to-day vendor management of the running of operations on the supporting the medical operations for which different vendors have to be managed. So I can say that I not exactly in a hospital, but I have had experience in managing supplies while I was a young officer. I did a quartermaster of my battalion. So I used to procure supplies from, like we have vendors in civil. In army, we have the Army Service Corps and the EME and the Army Ordnance Corps, etc., from where we get different kind of supplies for supporting a fighting strength of the infantry battalion. And I as a quartermaster used to requisition those supplies using my staff. And then when I was a commanding officer, I used to oversee all these things through my quartermaster, and also lies with these what you call as vendors in civil. In army, they are our counterparts. They are also officers. We used to coordinate with them for smooth running of our battalion and making sure that what is due to us is received by us. And on a day-to-day basis, running a battalion is very much like being an overall administrator through a team of own officers and junior officers, and that is what I have done for 2.5 years as a battalion commander.
What do you think is the difference between procurement process in the army and in a civilian hospital, or is it the same?
So there would be differences. One, the items are different. Then your vendor selection procedures would be different. Like for us, wherein if it is internal procurement, say I have to get what the ordnance will give me. I do not have a choice there. So that I mean I'm bound by by the rules and regulations of the uniform. Wherein in your setup, I'll have more flexibility in terms of choosing my vendors. But there also, as a battalion commander, we do tend to do some local purchases and contingency purchases through the various grants which government provides us. And I'll not say exposure as large or the amounts as big as probably what a 500-headed bedded hospital would be doing. But I do have some exposure in terms of doing local purchases and purchases for different items for an infantry battalion.
So from what I hear, you've been procuring on the supply chain management side. You've been procuring under certain constraints, under laid down processes.
Absolutely.
With us, the entire supply chain management is much larger in terms of responsibility, in terms of negotiations, and in terms of interaction. And we just don't procure from domestic vendors. We also procure products internationally. That's one. Second, in administration and security, whilst I'm happy having you head our security, on the administration side, there is also manpower management, which would be slightly different than what you've done in the army, because in the army, the people that you've managed are bound by rules. And in the civilian world, you need to pamper, coax, cajole, and nurture all the people in order to get the job done. So while you seem to have certain skills which are relevant, I don't think, Colonel Manish, if you agree with me, I don't think Captain Vipul would be suitable for a GM level position as yet. So, would you be open to starting at a lower position with us?
Okay, sir, how
Vipul,
lower you are suggesting? How lower would that position be?
Let's say a manager level, so that you learn the ropes, understand our corporate processes. We are a for-profit hospital. We are not an NGO. You'll be able to understand how it goes, and then probably over a couple of years you can get promoted into a general manager role.
Okay. So, and would this be a lower position or a lower salary?
Both. A manager cannot get a general manager's salary.
And then who would be doing the general manager's duties, sir?
We will be keeping the position open for now.
or we may find someone also.
We may, yes.
Okay. And so in your understanding or assessment, how much time do you think I would take to learn the civil side of administration and manpower management?
We are happy to have you head the security, but in administration it would be a managerial role. I think it should take a couple of years for you to grasp all that is required, and probably in 2024 and or 2025 you could look at moving up.
I'll have to think about it, sir. I cannot make a committal statement on this right now, whether I'll be okay with a lower position. Maybe a lower salary, yes, but a lower position, I'll have to think about it.
How long would you need to think about it?
Sir, if this
Because
is
we
the
need to
last-
close the position. We need to close the position by tomorrow. So we need an answer.
Since you need the answer by tomorrow, sir, you'll have to allow me today at least. I'll come back to you by tomorrow before either way, sir.
Sure.
Colonel Vipul, before what I am asking is, do you know how many hospitals do we have in the Delhi NCR and the southern sector?
Yes, sir. I've done that research, sir. You have a total of 11 hospitals in Delhi NCR, Chandigarh, and Jaipur, sir.
And what idea do you have of a hospital administration? What do you think is involved?
From what I understand, a hospital is a 24/7 workplace where it never rests. I mean, a patient can come in anytime. So there is a lot of unscheduled work. There are a lot of emergencies which the system has to be ready to respond to, and that is where I feel I have a very strong experience. I have been responding to emergencies in my last 30 years of experience. If I tell you that in Forge we call it firefighting, so there's always a fire, and we are always doing it on a regular basis, whether it is an operational area.
But why do you need firefighting only? I mean, what about in normal routine scenario? Everything should work.
No, firefighting in the sense that that's more of an expression. When I say firefighting, there could be contingencies which one has not planned for now. We'll incorporate that contingency once it happens, and then there could be another unforeseen thing which happens in future. And nowadays, what I have been told is that there is also a lot of threat to the medical and paramedical staff from irate patients, but they have to be handled with care because the patients are also the paying. I mean, they are the ones who are actually paying for the hospital to run. So there is a lot of PR and media management also which comes into play, which also we have a lot of experience when in CI.
Have you visited any of our hospitals?
Only as an outpatient, I have visited one of the hospitals, sir.
So, what impression does it give you?
It gives impression of a very smoothly run establishment, sir.
And
But that's the external which I see.
okay, okay. Just tell me, Param. Let's give this thing. Why should we hire? What is your USP?
Sir, if you ask me why should you hire you, I feel that I have a lot of relevant experience in administration and security and I am a fast learner. I'll learn, and whatever is there lacking in terms of the civil experience of administration and procurement, I'll be able to learn it in next 3 4 months, and I can help you expand uh, the reach to the patients the way we used to do it in ECHS, wherein we used to establish outposts and uh, uh, also reach out to our beneficiaries of ECHS for referrals and referring them to the corporate hospitals. So I can play a large part in establishing your reach to the ECHS and CGHS patients.
But we want to ask any other question?
And I think I'm through. We'll let Vipul decide and get back to us by tomorrow if he's open to a managerial level position.
Yes, sir. I need to think about the junior profile of administration. As you've already said that you're okay giving me head of security, but I need to join at a lower position with reference to the administration part of the job.
Sorry, so what is your question?
I have to rethink about joining at a lower position with reference to the administration part of the job, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So I need some time to come back to that, sir.
Not a
You
problem.
said managerial profile. What would be the salary expectation of the managerial profile, sir?
What is your
In
salary
terms of-
expectation?
Because the GM you are offering a CTC of 30 lakh rupees.
Yes, that's for the GM level. This is a customized role. So, what is your expectation?
Sir, I think 10-15%. My skills are not that low that anything less than that should be offered.
So you're saying you're okay with a minimum of 25.
Yes, sir, around 24, 25 at least.
All right,
I
sure.
would have been happy at 30, but so that's where I need to come back to you on that.
Sure. So we'll wait for that. Fine.
Sir.
That's all from my side.
So that means that you're okay with the lower position. So you have already given your consent, right?
No, I have not given my consent, sir. I'm saying I just got a data point I need to think about and understand and confirm it to you if it suits me.
Okay, right.
Because I will be concerned about the position which I hold. I have put in 33 years of experience overall. So I need to rethink if a manager's designation would be something I would like to join.
So, I mean, now that you mentioned, do you think it is a strong point or a weak point? 33 years of experience
I believe it's a strong
in a
point.
structured environment.
It is a strong point, sir. I have done good work in the last 33 years. I have been, I have generally done well in army the last 33 years.
Right, Vipul, we will let you know. Meanwhile, you also let us know whether
I'll do that.
our offer. And that's not an offer. That was we still reserve the right to say no, even after you say yes to, accepting the work position itself.
So,
That was just a question.
I'll need some time, sir. As I said, I'll need some time to mull over it, and only then I can confirm if this excites me at that position. I would be worried about the designation I carry.
Right. Thank you, Vipul. Thank you. That's right.
So that's officially the end of the interview. Sir, would you like to give some feedback?
So what do you think? You see, 90% of the candidates, statistically, first question में ही हो जाते हैं. Tell me briefly about yourself. So now that is here, what can also. चलो विपुल, आपने एक बारी भी अपनी जो strengths थी, जो आपने आपकी CV, I pulled out your CV and your CV says that you have 55, you were responsible for the administration of 55 ECHS clinics, etc., etc. Nowhere did you highlighted that aspect. That is the
That has
direct
been doing
relation to
for last
healthcare.
2.5 years, sir. वो तो मैं 2.5 साल से ही कर रहा हूँ, sir.
So what? That is the most relevant experience you have, and that is the most relevant, that is the most latest experience and the most relevant experience to this job.
Just a second. Now, this is for the benefit of all the audience members. We are not conveying to Vipul what we are not asking for a justification about what he said and why he said it.
Yes.
It's a feedback for the audience members to take away what they should be doing. Sorry.
Yeah. So
sir,
actually,
highlight of my career was that I commanded my battalion, sir, and I've been a selection grade colonel. So I thought that is what is most.
it actually doesn't matter whether you were a selection grade person or you were a types or doesn't matter. What matters to me is what you bring to the table, and that thing is relevant for the business. As Param mentioned that it's a. So what I'm saying, it doesn't matter to me, to us, whether it is whether you are a time scale colonel or selection grade colonel, or you have commanded your regiment or not. It is creditable that you have commanded, and that too in a counter-insurgency area, JNK, etc., and you shouldered good responsibilities. But it is not relevant for my business. What me as CEO of the hospital and Param as chairman of the hospital, what we are interested is that our hospital should run smoothly. The administration should not hinder the business. So that is one thing. So I will just give you little pointers how the answer should be, and your CV is right in front of me. So when you are asked, I hope everybody is able to hear me. When you are asked, tell me briefly about yourself, it's basically, you have 30-40 second slot you are getting to say whatever you have to say, actually, or maybe 1 minute. That is where in that 1 minute only, it's a make or a break, whether I am interested ahead or not. So first you say who you are and whom are you helping, basically. So you are an ex-army officer with more than 10 years of experience in administration. Out of overall experience of 25 years. So what you are actually highlighting is you have applied for the job of head administration. And you are highlighting that out of your total experience, which is a very varied experience and a very good experience, you have tenated appointments which were core administrative function oriented. Okay. Then maybe you can say what, so that covers who you are. Then maybe you can answer whom you help. So I help the organization to run smoothly by taking care of the entire administrative aspects. And then the next part may be why you are passionate about what you do. So and what is your USP? That is the accomplishment. So I help the organization to run smoothly by looking at your CV, by taking care of entire administrative cover. As head of admin in my last 2 assignments, I have successfully looked after the administration of 55 ECHS clinics. It's a very big thing. 55 medical clinics with an average daily footfall of say 250 patients. So 55 clinics, 250 patients, geographically separated areas. That shows your administrative skills. Each having a staff of 10 to 15 doctors and 5 paramedics. And I have also been running 2 medium-sized schools and a skill training center. It's all in your CV.
but you have not highlighted these points. This is what was relevant to the administration part of this thing. Besides this, when you were commanding officer or when you were company commander, you can say, besides this, I successfully manage an estate covering 25 acres with facilities like 5 large kitchens, 7 playgrounds, full-size playgrounds, officer mess, okay, dining halls, 5 dining halls, and accommodation for 1,000 people. You know, this is administrative aspect. A fleet of transport fleet of 200 vehicles, and the entire security aspect of this entire assets. This is what is highlighting your administrative skill. You are applying for head of administration of 11 hospitals. Even if it was one hospital, even then your answer should have been on these lines. And then you have to basically say why this job is of interest to you. That also somewhere you have to say that you're interested in this job because of a particular some reason, that it gives me, you know, a chance to be an expert administrator in the healthcare domain, which is a sunrise sector. And that's what I have always been thinking of. So this is how your answer should have been, you know, structured. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you have all the skills, you have all the experience which can be mapped to this position. But you highlighted more of security. That is why, if you noticed, in between I asked whether administration comes under security or security comes under administration. So when I have given this answer, I have covered all the administrative aspects, and in the end, one line I said, and the entire security of all these assets and facilities. Right? Param, you want to add something?
I just want to add once again that for the benefit of the audience, we are not shooting down Vipul's candidature. It is a feedback for as a takeaway for all the audience members.
Yes. It is. Gentlemen, this is for the entire audience. What we have done, see, what is important in army life or defense life may be different than what is important for the business. So you have to understand the job you're applying for and the impact that job has on the business. You have to understand the relevance of that job to the business, and whether you bring all those qualities which the business is looking for so that it grows. That is what is required. It doesn't matter whether I have done staff college and MTech and the job requirement is not there. It's not relevant to the job. It doesn't matter for the job. So I hope, Colonel Vipul, I hope you have got this thing. It was nowhere was my intention to shoot your answer down, and we respect your experience and whatever you have done in your your accomplishments, your achievements, we salute it.
Yeah, understood, sir. So the point is that the answer was superfluous. It was not in sync with the job requirement. The relevant skills were not highlighted. When you had asked me the first question, tell me something about yourself. A more appropriate answer should have been, one, I have been taking care of 55 polyclinics for their day-to-day administration, for managing their procurement, supplies, the patient inflow, as to how patient follow-ups, etc. is done. Then while I was commanding, or after my command, when I was in staff, I had been doing administration and also that is what I should have highlighted.
So it's a simple formula. I said, the simple formula is you can cover in who you are and whom do you help. Second is What is your USP? That is what are your accomplishments? And those accomplishments should be related to the job description. You have to read the job description very carefully. What is that thing which they are looking for? And third is why uh, why you are interested in this job. That should also, why this job is of interest to you. That should come in somewhere.
So Manish sir, as we have discussed, you will be able to share this basic framework in a Word of PDF document with our officers in the groups.
Yeah, sure. We will.
May I share some feedback?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Param, you would like to click on next, what you noticed?
Yes, sir. I'll just take this on. Vipul, why are you looking so serious today? That's better. That's the candidate I want to see. So,
Sorry? I missed it.
Vipul has been looking very serious throughout, and it reflects your energy in a discussion, in a conversation. So, for the benefit of all the audience, please try and smile a bit, engage, enjoy the conversation. Don't consider it as an interview. Worst case scenario, what will happen? You'll not get selected. That's all right. It's a part of the process. When you were asked about yourself, the response was very generic. Try and avoid being generic. Make it specific, like Colonel Manish just pointed out. From the beginning, I addressed you as captain. Why did you not respond? There are two types of interviewers. One who are jokers and don't understand anything about the armed forces. And the others are who will intentionally try to unbalance you from the word go, so that you're on the back foot throughout the interview. I was looking for some kind of a response. Why did you not respond?
I didn't want to correct you in the interview. You were interviewing me. I thought.
Which is a common fallacy, that you should not correct the interviewer. But if you are proud of your achievement, if you've done what you've done and you have a certain stature, it's all right to politely tell the interviewer that, sir, captain is of X number of years of experience and a colonel has Y number of years of experience. That's a very non-controversial way of correcting the interviewer. When you were asked about strengths and weaknesses, you said, I don't think I need to tell weaknesses.
I don't think I have a weakness.
That's not really possible, because every individual has a weakness. You're interviewing for an admin and security role, and you're giving a weakness that you spend money very frequently. That immediately puts a thought in the back of the interviewer's mind that this candidate is going to drain my capital. He is going to give not to the L1 but to the most expensive person, because he's a spendthrift. हाथ खुला है जो हिंदी में कहते हैं. So nobody wants their purchase or procurement person to have a free hand or a very open disbursement policy. Third, invariably you'll be lucky if you get an interviewer from the armed forces. If the interviewer is not from the armed forces, we should not assume that he will be familiar with the terminology which is used in the armed forces, like battalions and companies. Give numbers. This number of headcount, this number of officers, this number of blue-collared workers. So divide that in a lingo which is understandable by the interviewer in the corporate or civilian world. Another feedback is, and this is the last one, when I asked you for a downgrade, I was open to giving you head of security. Now, head of security, you could have asked me, is that a GM level? So will I be a manager, admin, and a GM security? It will put me on a negotiating table. And if I'm offering you 25, a manager does not get 25. He will get 15. There is a hierarchy: manager, senior manager, AGM, DGM, and then GM. So I will not offer you 25 if I'm giving you manager. There was room for you to negotiate, sir. Okay, if you don't want to give me GM, put me as a DGM. You are saying 2 years. I will prove myself in 1 year. There's always negotiation. When you said 10-15%, I reduced it by more than that. From 30, I went down straight to 25. 10% is 3 lakhs. 15% is 4.5. So you could have said, sir, 25 ki jagah 28 kar do, I can reconsider. That's a negotiation. And I've told you that I am stressed and I am urgent about hiring. Close the position there and then. 28 karke DGM leke khatam karo wahin pe. So that's some feedback for everyone's benefit. Always be open to negotiation, and negotiations continue till the time you have the offer in hand. Thank you.
वो सर फौजी होने का सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज ही है ना, वो डेजिग्नेशन जैसे ही नीचे गया तो इट काइंड ऑफ ट्रबल्ड मी कि
Don't get your ego.
चल जाएगी, बट
Don't get your ego on the interviewer table. Have a conversation. Have a conversation and enjoy it.
Param sir, Manish sir, shall we take audience questions now?
Sure, absolutely.
So, sorry, I also have this weakness and strengths. So, first of all, you should never, mention your personal weaknesses. Don't mention your personal weaknesses here. If at all, first, and don't also be very smart and say that something like this, that I'm a very hardworking. Sometimes I get obsessed and work very late. So nobody is looking for these kind of weaknesses also. I mean, you are kind of telling you are very hardworking and trying to portray it as your weakness. These smart texts also won't work. Okay, so that is another thing. You can say something that in the past, I have had a problem with Microsoft Office in my thing, but I have overcome that problem now, and I am well versed with Microsoft Office. Or maybe you can be very direct also. I understand that I don't have a experience of running this kind of a hospital, but then but with the kind of well-rounded qualifications and administrative experience I have, because आपकी qualification में आपने mention किया है, you have done masters in health administration, hospital administration. Somewhere you have to earn the brownie point for that also. You have also done MBA HR. So you can say, though I have, with the kind of qualification and administration experience I have and degrees of hospital administration and HR under my belt, I'm quite sure that this weakness is just on paper. So you have admitted that you don't have the experience of running a large hospital, but you have the administration experience, and then you have the qualification to support it. So everyone has got weaknesses, so there is nothing wrong in having some kind of weakness, but no personal weaknesses. And then also, you can, their strengths also, the strengths which you say should be relevant to the job description. When you say I am very hardworking, leadership qualities, these are all superfluous terms. I can't judge. But when you say that you are, well qualified, you are well conversant with labor laws, regulatory and compliances, which are applicable to healthcare industry, because you have done Masters of Health Administration. So that rings a bell in my ear. कि हाँ ये बंदा ठीक बात कर रहा है. ये और क्या करता है एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव हेड? He manages people. You have managed people. So highlight these kind of things. I'm good in communication, which will not only help in managing people, handling the administrative staff and the customer, but also the local administration. Because as head of administration in a hospital, you have to regularly interact with local administration. There may be a police case which will come in your hospital. You may have to interact with local DSP, SP. So all these things, I have experience of handling technical issues related to security cameras, generator, air conditioning. All these are part of this thing. So somewhere you have to when you say your weaknesses, it's no personal weakness, and when you say your strengths, somewhere those strengths should also be mapped to the job description.
And a good way to do that is to visualize that you're already doing this job and imagine
Yes.
what would you be doing.
That was my next point. Visualize.
You gotta focus on your